Tony Pulis was famously quoted as saying Serge Gnabry was not at the required level to play for West Bromwich Albion when the German was on loan at the Hawthorns from Arsenal during the 2015-16 season. 4 years on, Gnabry has won the Bayern Munich Player of the Year award in his first season in Bavaria. He has scored 13 goals from 13 caps for Germany, and he scored 4 goals in a single game against Tottenham earlier on this season in the Champions League. Now, clearly, in 2020, Tony Pulis' comments look a little daft, and certainly, the 24-year-old has gone on to emphatically prove Old Tone wrong. However, I don't think we should be too harsh on the most fashionable man in football. Gnabry hadn't played a lot of men's football when he went on loan to the Hawthorns, and he didn't appear to be fully fit. What's more, Arsenal obviously didn't realise quite how good he was going to be either, otherwise they wouldn't have let him go for just £5 million. Nevertheless, just for a bit of fun, I thought it might be interesting to go back and have a look at the 7 players who got game time ahead of the reigning Bayern Player of the Season under Pulis in that 2015-16 West Brom squad. Although I've put wingers in the title, Gnabry can play as either a wide man or an attacking midfield, so this 7 will include both wide men and attacking midfielders, essentially anyone who was competition for the youngster during his time in West Bromwich. The 7 is ordered in terms of how many games each player played that season, from those who played the fewest games to those who played the most. Here are 7 wingers or attacking midfielders Tony Pulis referred to Serge Gnabry. Where are they now? Alex Pritchard, Huddersfield Town. There was actually very little to split the amount of game time Serge Gnabry and Alex Pritchard got at West Brom in the 2015-16 season, with both players making just 3 appearances in all competitions. 2 of Pritchard's came in the Premier League though, the most important competition to Pulis at the time, compared to just 1 of Gnabry's. Both players were on loan from North London clubs, obviously Arsenal in Gnabry's case, and Tottenham in the case of Pritchard. The Orsett-born attacking midfielder joined West Brom off the back of 2 excellent seasons out on loan in the Championship and in League One, and he only joined the Baggies midway through the season, on February 1st, and failed to make much of an impact. His stock was still high, despite doing little at the Hawthorns, and Norwich City signed him the following summer for £8 million. Just 18 months later, Pritchard was on the move again, this time for £11 million, in a return to the Premier League with Huddersfield Town. Pritchard is undoubtedly a talented footballer, but his career has stalled in West Yorkshire. The 26-year-old has only started 7 games for Huddersfield this season, failing to score or assist a single goal. Jonathan LEKO, West Brom. The first player in this 7 still contracted to West Bromwich Albion, the fact that Jonathan LEKO is still only 20 years old is a reminder of how remarkable it is that he played more games than Serge Gnabry for West Brom 4 years ago. In fact, LEKO was the first player born in 1999 to start a Premier League game, and he made his West Brom debut at the age of 16. Quick, tricky and good on the ball, LEKO can operate out wide on either flank or through the middle as a striker, and he made 6 appearances for West Brom in the 2015-16 season, or twice as many as Serge Gnabry. LEKO backed that up with 9 appearances in the 2016-17 campaign, and even made the shortlist for the European Golden Boy Award. LEKO has since spent the first half of the 2017-18 campaign on loan at Bristol City, and the first half of this season at Charlton Athletic. He was Charlton's star man up until Christmas, when he suffered an ACL injury, likely to rule him out for at least the entirety of this season. LEKO is still highly thought of at the Hawthorns, despite having not yet broken into the first team, but whether he gets a new deal beyond the summer of 2021 is likely to depend upon how he recovers from this setback. CALLUM McManaman, Luton Town. CALLUM McManaman looked like a really exciting footballer when he first broke through at Wigan Athletic in the 2012-13 season. Aged only 21 at the time, the Liverpudlian looked to have boundless energy and a real spring in his step as he teared down the right-hand side of the pitch. He scored 6 goals from the right flank in his breakout campaign, and even won the Man of the Match award as Wigan beat Manchester City in the 2013 FA Cup final. Nevertheless, he stuck with the Latics following relegation for 18 months before being snapped up by Tony Pulis for £4.75 million. McManaman might have been a bit short for Tone at 5'9", but his energy and enthusiasm was certainly a welcome addition, and he was Pulis' first signing as the Baggies' boss. The 2015-16 season was both his first and his last full season at the Hawthorns, and McManaman made 15 appearances in all competitions, 12 coming in the Premier League. Transfers to Sunderland and a return to Wigan followed, with McManaman never lasting more than a single season, and last summer he joined newly promoted Luton Town on a free transfer. At the time of the league suspension, Luton sits second bottom in the Championship, and McManaman has 3 goals and no assists to his name so far this term. James Morrison, West Brom coach. English-born former Scottish international James Morrison retired from football last year, aged only 32. The attacking midfielder said he would rather retire than play at any level below the Championship, and with only lower league clubs having expressed an interest, he stayed true to his word. I find it unusual both that Morrison took the decision to retire so young and that there was no Championship interest in him. As a Hull City fan, I can tell you he would walk into our team right now. In fact, I'd like to see us take the chance that the current EFL suspension presents to us to sign him up along with Mile Jedinak and then maybe tempt David Myler out of retirement as well. I don't care if they're all cropped, deeply unfit, and have a combined age of 97, they'd still do a better job than the headless chickens we've got at the moment. Anyhow, that's another topic for another time, although not long now I shouldn't think. 4 years ago, James Morrison was a key man at the Hawthorns, just as he was for more than a decade. Born in Darlington, Morrison came through the youth ranks at Middlesbrough, but he joined West Brom in 2007 and stuck around up until hanging up his boots in 2019. During that time, he made 341 appearances, including 19 in the season in question under Pulis. Following his retirement, the 33-year-old began coaching West Brom's under-23 team, so he hasn't left football for good. Chris Brunt, West Brom. Just like James Morrison, Chris Brunt joined West Brom in 2007 and has been with the club ever since. It's rare that a player sticks at a club for such a long period of time these days, and Morrison and Brunt are part of a dying breed. I can vividly remember both players' debut campaigns at West Brom in 2007-08 when they won the Championship title with an iconic midfield containing the likes of Brunt, Morrison, Robert Corran, Jonathan Greening and Zoltan Gera. Brunt is now 35 years old and he has played more than 400 games for the Baggies. I believe that is a record for any West Brom player during the 2000s, and he has made 9 appearances in search of a third promotion at the Hawthorns this season. Such a versatile footballer, Brunt can play anywhere from left back to on the right flank, but his preferred position has typically been on the left side of midfield. Capable of scoring the odd cracker, Brunt may have lost half a yard of pace, but the Northern Irishman is still a very useful player to have in the dressing room, now in the final year of his contract with West Brom. Stefan Sessegnon, Jens Saarbrügge. A football manager supremo. I can't remember how far I'm going back here, but I'm sure some of you will remember that Stefan Sessegnon was an absolute class act, possibly on Football Manager 2008 or 2009. Quite possibly the only footballer I can name from Benin off the top of my head, Stefan Sessegnon captains his country, with whom he is the most capped player of all time, in addition to being their all-time leading goalscorer. A diminutive but explosive little footballer, Sessegnon could play anywhere, left, right, or through the middle. He was brought to England by Steve Bruce at Sunderland in 2011 off the back of 3 years with PSG, and he put in some excellent performances during his 5.5 seasons in the Premier League. 3 of those seasons came with West Brom, where Sessegnon played 92 games, including 31, the season Serge Gnabry spent at the Hawthorns. That was his final season with the club, unsurprisingly, given Tony Pulis was in charge, and Sessegnon is useless in the air, and he made a return to Ligue 1. Since 2017, the veteran international captain has been playing for Jens Saarbrügge in the Turkish Super League, and just in case you were wondering, he is a distant relative of Ryan and Steven Sessegnon. James McClean, Stoke City. The most frequent starter for West Brom under Tony Pulis in the 2015-16 season, either out wide or in attacking midfield, James McClean registered 42 appearances that season in all competitions. McClean is a winger who's almost 6 foot tall, he's strong, and he never stops running. If we're honest, Pulis would probably pick him over Neymar. Like Sessegnon, McClean is another wide man who was brought to England by Steve Bruce during his time at Sunderland. He left the club to join Wigan Athletic in 2013, and in 2015, he turned down the chance to join New York Red Bulls in favour of a £1.5 million move to West Brom. Following 4 seasons with the Baggies in the Premier League, McClean was snapped up by Stoke City for £5 million. He has been a regular fixture for the Potters this season, and like so many in the Stoke City squad, his form has really picked up under Michael O'Neill. So those are the 7 players who Tony Pulis preferred to Serge Gnabry at West Brom in the 2015-16 season. Of the 7, McClean is probably the one playing the best this season, but I'm not sure that he'd get the nod over Gnabry at Bayern, or be able to stick 4 past Spurs in the Champions League. In all seriousness, as I said, it's easy to mock Tony Pulis, but all football managers, like all players, and all people for that matter, make mistakes, and even the likes of Sir Alex and Arsene Wenger can fail to spot a future star. Before I leave you, I haven't given an update on the HITC Sevens Fantasy League in some time, and given the league's recent suspension, who knows, this could be the final table. If it is, then congratulations are due to Kevin Smith and his test team Ignore, who currently top the league by 5 points. unless that is, that Kevin really does want his team to be ignored, in which case Anton Ariens could steal the trophy with his Fish FC. In third place, we have Nick van Niekerk and his team Black Sox. Meanwhile, Alfie Bird and Theo Pam, who have been in the top 3 for so long, have recently just dropped out. Presumably they, like me, have had a few rotten game weeks. Anyhow, that's it for today's video and for our quick Fantasy Premier League recap. Thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like button if you did, and obviously also make sure that you are subscribed to HITC Sevens, the #1 source of entertainment during these times of crisis.